Get Rich Slow with John Wolf. Hey, today I want to talk about budgeting. How do you set up a budget? How do you think about goals? And there are actually two methods that I have seen for doing it. There's the standard budget and there's what's called a personal P&L, personal profit and loss statement. But before I tell you about that, smash the like button, subscribe, and share this with a friend. And again, I am a loan officer in Oregon or Washington, so if you need a purchase, refi, reach out to me. So anyways, let's talk about the personal budget. So for a budget, this is boring, but it's something you should do. Start adding up, make an Excel spreadsheet and list out all of your expenses every month that reoccur every month at the same amount. And at the very top, start with your monthly income, especially if it's consistent every month, all right? And it's gonna be things like auto insurance, gas is going to be pretty consistent month to month if you actually look at it, for the car. Heating, oil, gas, electricity for the home, water for the home, your rent or your house payment. If you have childcare expenses, put that all in. And I'm going to give you an example of a couple different personal P&Ls. And the big difference between what a budget really is before the month starts, spend every single dollar you have on paper. You know what? Dave Ramsey, his system for doing that, really good. And if you have a spending problem, his physical envelopes with cash and you're not allowed to spend more than that is also a really good plan. Where it gets difficult, but if you need that rigor because you are an overspender, is if you have an income that's very fluctuated. So that might be because you run your own business, it might be because you are a commission employee, but whatever the case, if you have a super variable income, what's really useful, and here's a picture of one, flash top of the screen, is a personal P&L. And yes, this is the personal P&L of one of my first mentors, and yes, he did actually make $840,000 that month. Your mentors should make more money than you, especially if they're coaching you on making more money. Anyways, and the big difference between a personal P&L is that you keep it rolling throughout the year, and also you fill it out retrospectively. So the first or the second week of each month, you fill out last month's. And by the way, if you are married or about to be married to somebody, you need to do this with them. One of the amazing things about doing a budget, especially if you're doing it with somebody else, and I think the personal P&L, if there are relationship conflicts around money, which is super, super common, I think the personal P&L is better because when you do a budget, you will be kind of telling your spouse what he or she has to spend. And if you do a personal P&L statement, you will be showing them what they did spend. And I know I did this with my spouse a lot, and she has the other kind of spending problem. I have to push her to get her to spend some money, but she sees what she spent, and we have been tight quite a lot of months in the last few years, and just doing the personal P&L and seeing the number negative or no savings or very little savings, whenever she saw last month, you can bet we spent less the next month. And that certainly helped even things out. But if you do a budget and you do the envelope system like Dave Ramsey, that's totally good. It does tend to break down. In my opinion, it's very hard to do if you don't know how much money you're even gonna make that month. So you basically have to spend last month's money this month, and you have to have an emergency fund to even do that, which I also highly, highly, highly recommend. So anyways, here's again a picture of my first mentor's P&L, and you can read all of that goodness. And then I also have a picture of a more normal family budget P&L. And basically the point of this, if you're doing your P&L correctly, is once you do all the math, it zeroes out. So you made $10,000 this month, all of these line items were spent, and then these other line items went to savings, and then you add up that savings over time. So that's how you do the P&L, and then the budget is basically the same thing. Super critical to understanding your finances, how to budget. And let's just talk about emergency fund and why and how much is reasonable. And this is going to change a lot based on who you are, and you really have to do a budget to know what the number should be. So emergency fund, very much the same way Dave Ramsey teaches it, but my thoughts might be a little bit different, is you have to at least do your budget once to get it rolling, or you have to do the P&L for last month, and it's pretty easy to do. Get your check stubs, open up your credit cards and bank account statements, and figure out what you did with everything. Anyways, and then your emergency fund, as fast as you possibly can, you should have cash in the bank that's at least 1 month of everything you spent last month. And then you might, and that's an emergency. If you don't have that at all, find stuff to sell, really. I mean, the weight that'll be taken off of your shoulders, and if you have a spouse, the weight that'll be taken off of your relationship, just by being 1 month ahead on bills, it's hard to describe to somebody who's never felt that. And then, maybe less of an emergency, you really want to get to 3 months, have a party for yourself, spend a little money on that, and then you really want to get to 6 months. And for my get-rich-slow investors, in addition to that 6 month, and on that 6 month, I'm only talking about your personal. You don't need to include all of your rental payments in that. But in addition to that 6 month emergency fund, you should have, and this is again for my area where houses cost $300,000-ish minimum, you should have $10,000 in your emergency fund per rental door that you're renting. And I am thinking of rentals that rent for, $900 to $2,000 a month when I say that. Anyways, so that's, take a look at these, make your own that matches what you're doing, include all the things that are important to you. And again, if you're thinking about doing a home loan, want help with your credit, reach out to me, John Wolf, Caliber Home Loans at Clackamas. Have an awesome day. Bye.